Hey everyone, so in this video we're going to learn about how to add our Leap Motion controller into A-Frame. So essentially what the Leap Motion controller is going to allow us to do is we're going to be able to visualize our hands and the movement of our hands in our A-Frame scene. And eventually down the road we'll get them to interact with other objects, but for right now in this video we're just going to focus on visualizing our hands in the A-frame scene. And this snapshot here is essentially what it'll look like in A-frame. And more specifically, this is what it'll look like when you're using the diagnostic visualizer that comes with the code for this device. But the first thing you want to do right out, literally right out of the box, is follow the instructions that go with your Leap Motion controller in this box. And essentially, it's just going to take you to a website. You're going to download some software or an SDK, and that's going to download some tools for you that allows you to interface this with your computer. So, all right. And then once you get all that installed, what you're going to do is you're going to search for an application on your computer called Leap Motion Control Panel. And this is going to help you to test your Leap Motion controller to see if it's actually working or not. And of course, reach out to me if it's not working. We'll try and get you there and get it to work. So once you get it open, this is what it's going to look like. And I know, of course, that if you're an Apple or Mac user, it might look a little bit different. But the main thing here that we're going to change, and the only thing we're really going to change, is the Allow Web Apps checkbox. Of course, because A-Frame is a web VR application or an extension of HTML that allows you to do VR experiences on a web page, you need to click this. Otherwise, it will not work. And you won't be able to see your A-frame. In your A-frame scene, you won't be able to see the hands from your Leap Motion controller. So once you check that, all you're going to do is click Apply to reinforce those changes, and then you're just going to click OK. And I think that closes the window. But once you do that, you just want to close the window. But actually, before you close the window, the Leap Motion control panel also has a troubleshooting tab. So this is going to allow you to quickly test and see if your Leap Motion controller is actually working. So when you click on the troubleshooting tab, you're also going to see a diagnostic visualizer button. This is going to open something up that looks like this. And you're going to have a bunch of buttons. It's going to have like a little legend on the left side of all the buttons you can click to change the debugging mode. I know one of them allows you to get rid of that grid. And I think it even, the Leap Motion controller has a camera in it too as well, like an IR or an infrared camera. You can turn that off as well, and just so you only see your hands. I think you can even have it like draw the path of your fingers as you move your hand, which is really cool. But yeah, you can use that to test it just to make sure it's working. And all right, so now we're going to actually connect it to our A-frame scene project. So this is the code that I would recommend you start with if you're going to try to get your A-frame, if you're going to try and get your Leap Motion controller to work with A-frame. So the first thing you're going to add is this script, just like with A-frame, adding the extension so that A-frame can work. In the second line, we're going to be adding another script that allows our Leap Motion controller to work with A-frame. All right, so the first thing in our A scene that we're going to add is an A entity, but this A entity is going to provide the camera functionality or our view in the scene. And essentially what these attributes like look controls and camera are going to allow us to do is just going to position our viewpoint in the VR environment such that we can more easily see our hands and interact with them. All right. And then within the A entity as child objects, we're going to add even more A entities, one for each hand. And you'll notice that the only difference between the two is you're going to define one hand is left and then obviously the other hand is right. And that's pretty much it. Once you do that and then load it up on your web browser, and obviously you want to make sure that this is plugged into your desktop or your laptop or whatever computer you're using. And then And then you should be able to see your hands when you put them over it. I've noticed too that the desktop configuration where you just lay it down on your table doesn't work as well. You can still see your hands, but it's not in the right orientation. Eventually what we're going to be using is our probably our Google Cardboard or our devices that we can put our phone into for a VR headset. What we'll probably do eventually is we'll tape those onto the front like this, or you can just hold it and then move your hand in front of it to get the right orientation. All right, so that's about it for adding our A-frame hand, our Leap Motion controller hands into the A-frame scene. In terms of the physics, that's probably going to be in a later video. I did encounter an issue with adding physics with the Leap hands. And essentially what that is you're able to make an object holdable, or you can have it collide with other objects. The issue I'm running into right now is that the back-end physics engine that the Leap Motion controller code uses is called Canon, and that no longer works with the latest version of A-frame. You'll notice that I was using the Ammo physics engine in the physics tutorial, and that's the reason why, because Ammo is the one that still works with the latest version of A-frame. Worst comes to worst, we'll probably just bring the version of A-frame back a little bit so that it can work. But if I find a way to make it work with the latest version of A-frame, I can probably make another video on that and how to set that up. But what it looks like right now is we're probably going to have to use an older version of A-frame, and that shouldn't mess with anything else in our that shouldn't mess with anything else that we've been learning about so far. All right, last thing is the documentation and resources. So the second bullet point there is actually the website where you download the software development kit or the code for the Leap Motion controller. That provides like I believe it provides this Leap Motion control panel software. So if you're wondering where that is, this is the URL for that. And then the first bullet point is simply where the documentation is for that A-frame code. So when we were talking about it over here, the GitHub repository is, or that documentation is for this script right here. So it explains to you how to use it and what other attributes you can add to your Leap hands to best fit the functionality you want. So yeah, that's about it. I know it was a pretty short video, but all we were really trying to do is add our Open Leap controller hands into the A-frame scenes just so that we can see them. Really, the only activity for this this time around is just to get everything set up and working. And of course, just like usual, let me know if you're running into any problems or issues. Thanks for watching.